NATO bombs transformed Libya from one of the richest states in Africa to a playground for warlords, the world's biggest slave market, the capital of human trafficking. Having messed things up beyond repair and all recognition, the intervention team withdrew. 8 years later, it's round two. Turkey recently upset almost everyone in the Mediterranean when it carved out a good portion of the sea between itself and Libya. A huge area rich in oil and gas, and by Libya, I mean the UN-backed Government of National Accord, one of the governments fighting for control of the country. In return for the GNA's signature, Turkey promised them support, meaning guns, lots of guns.
Turkey will not turn from the agreement it has reached with Libya. We are well aware of the intensification of efforts to overthrow the legitimate Libyan government. If necessary, we will increase the military size of our support and take advantage of all kinds of opportunities on land, sea and air.
General Haftar effectively leads the other government through his Libyan National Army. He now controls most of the country, most of the oil, and he's winning. Turkey is threatening to deploy soldiers to stop him. It accuses Egypt, the UAE and Russia of supporting him. 8 years ago, Russia and China stood against intervention, saying it would lead to chaos, for which they were ridiculed. It turns out they were right, though no one likes to be reminded.
The Russian strategy in Libya is extremely responsible. It has no geopolitical dimension and puts Libyan interests at the forefront. We are not on any side of the conflict.
On paper, France supports the GNA. It is, after all, the UN-recognized government. They've said flowery things, called for peace, hosted fruitless summits that led nowhere. So it was strange when the GNA came out and accused France of supporting a warlord.
We are surprised that France does not support our government that is democratic, but supports a dictator.
A few months after those words, French weapons were seen in the hands of Haftar's forces, advanced weapons. Things have become very serious, serious enough to jolt an old-school interventionist into action. 8 years ago, the United States led the mob that bombed Libya into oblivion. They cheered and literally laughed when Gaddafi was tortured to death by rebels.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
The laughter stopped when the same rebels that Hillary helped murdered the American ambassador. Now they're concerned, more so than they've been for years. What changed? Countless thousands have been butchered in the years since the intervention. Why speak out now?
Concerned about Libya, external military intervention threatens prospects for peace. United States deplores attacks on innocent civilians and calls on all sides to refrain from escalation. Only a political settlement will resolve the conflict.
Oh, does it? Military intervention threatened peace. Sad irony aside, we're getting closer to the whole point of this proxy free-for-all. As usual, it was Trump that said what everyone was thinking.
The president recognized Field Marshal Haftar's significant role in fighting terrorism and securing Libya's oil resources, and the two discussed a shared vision for Libya's transition to a stable, democratic political system.
Oil, oil, oil. Is it a coincidence that French weapons turn up in the hands of Haftar's troops, and then suddenly France's Total energy giant wins a huge stake in an oil field controlled by Haftar? Italian Eni was pumping almost 400,000 barrels of oil a day from Libya as of last year, a country locked in a bloody civil war, and they're making millions. American ConocoPhillips owns 16% of an oil field controlled by Haftar. While Libyans are slogging it out in a bloody stalemate, no one cares. But suddenly, when the balance of power appears to shift, when one side appears to be winning, and when things could change and the oil pumps could stop, Suddenly, they're concerned again. The only question is about what? Lives or barrels?